circle the consent and read it?
Yes.
Hi, welcome to round 3 of UKMID 2017. I'm your chair. My name is Patrick. On government, we have Pornhub. On opposition, we have Marasi. On the motion that this house as the Dalai Lama would proclaim that he would not reincarnate, can you please invite the Prime Minister?
No matter how good a pen of truth you are in writing the words of independence, you are easily broken. This motion, Mr. Speaker, is about the Dalai Lama and what he should do. What does he want? He wants Tibetan independence or at least autonomy, but that's pretty hard in the status quo. So failing which we are free to settle for criticism of the Chinese government, reminding them that what they're doing to Tibetans, open genocide, taking away the rights to the wrong thing, and also to plug to the grounds for global support that has since built up. About what reincarnation is, I need to define how the Dalai Lama's process of reincarnation currently works, so please bear with me. In Tibet, there are two main sects, the Gula, which is led by the Dalai Lama, and another which is led by the Karmapa Lama. Okay. So when one dies, the other one picks the successor. Okay. The trouble is, when the Karmapa Lama passed on about 15 years ago, the boy which the Dalai Lama anointed got kidnapped mysteriously to some kind of like box van, and voila, a new Han Chinese ethnicity boy popped up as a new Karmapa Lama, now firmly under the control of the Chinese government. Okay. He's living a pretty normal life, going to school, doesn't really speak the Tibetan language really well, but the point is, the Karmapa sect is now fully and wholly under Chinese control. Small wonder that the Karmapa Lama has been reduced from being an alternative center of power to be a puppet and a figurehead. At this point in time, given the Chinese government controls half of the keys to eternity, we think that the Dalai Lama is now in a quandary. Once he goes, even if he says, I will reincarnate somewhere in the world, he can't pick his successor because he's dead. At that point, the Chinese government can very easily subvert the process like they did 15 years ago. This is very bad on balance for the Gulu, bad for Tibet, and bad for Tibetan independence. Our stance as government is very simple. Should not reincarnate, instead should prepare his people saying, I'm not going to reincarnate. It is now on you and you and you to become the new Dalais, to spread the Tibetan cause all around the world. And our stance is that a change in the mode of activism from being figurehead-centered towards one being mass will spread like wildfire faster than the Great Wall can contain. Okay. Two substantive arguments. Number one, what are the problems of a figurehead-based movement in Tibet's context? And number two, a copious amount of analysis as to why not reincarnating is a good idea. First thing, what are the problems of a figurehead-based movement for Tibet? Four main things. Number one, you literally are vulnerable. You might get killed if you're a defenseless young boy. And when these symbols get killed, movements do fall. Secondly, we also do think that dependence on a single ethnically centric figure makes Buddhism and Tibetan Buddhism in this particular case further insular. It hurts its ability to reach out to more people, which is critical when you're trying to fight for independence against the great lion. Thirdly, we think in the long run, individuals may very well be flawed. You don't know, especially in a case where the individual is semi-divine, whether he might abuse his authority someday. Just because you're holy doesn't mean your successor won't be an adderall smoking drunkard. We don't really know. That's problematic. But fourthly, we also think that dependence on a single person makes the movement geographically centered in one area, because even in Tibetan movements now, they're all oriented around Dharamsala, which basically makes it very difficult for the movement to really spread and makes it easy to kill. Why, therefore, is not reincarnating a good idea in comparison and contrast? Before that, anything? Okay, fine. Right. So, 6 reasons, maybe more of the POI. Number one, you're practically very hard to kill. For the best example as to how decentralized movements are effectively immortal, just ask Al-Qaeda. Here's the point, like it's very difficult to stop up a movement like that, especially given the Chinese government is prone to controlling things only within its borders, so you become enduring. But secondly, at the point you die, people remember you for who you were before you died. You become an eternal symbol. You become a symbol unkillable by words or by political machinations. You become a symbol that inspires and solidifies people's faith from now into the future in a way that a reincarnation cannot do, because humans are mortal and will one day turn from dust to dust. Third reason, we think, again, we certainly don't know if the new Dalai Lama might sell out, because younger generations are unpredictable. We don't know which way they're going to swing. So at the point where you as the Dalai Lama feel the need to keep people hammer-mongers in the fight for independence, it is often better for you to cement it right now and prevent some and create some certainty so that people know that the movement will endure in your vision the way you want it.
For the past few decades, the only figurehead that is able to keep Tibet and push against China when it comes to what they want for the autonomous region. Without this, why does you able to do this better than the Dalai Lama?
One day, all humans will die. The correct comparative is between a young swallowing baby sucking its thumb and other people. The comparative we want to talk about is while you're still alive and still a breath in your bones, you tell people that story and spread it out. We don't stand for a world where one avatar is here to save the world. Fourth reason as to why this is a better world is because oftentimes the fight for succession over the Dalai Lama distracts people, distracts capital, distracts media attention from the actual fight, which is, Tibetans are kind of dying in the streets, setting themselves on fire because things are desperate. Their jobs are being taken from them, the temples are being systematically demolished for redevelopment. This insidious, creeping, unnoticeable scourge, is what is killing the soul of the Tibetan movement, and it's time for us to remove distractions and move towards that. But fifthly, we think this makes the movement a lot more global. Look at how missionaries of Protestantism spread like wildfire across the world, where Catholicism seems to be rather irrelevant in comparison. This is the best realistic case example where your movement for independence, even if we can't achieve much, will actually survive, will get more traction around the world. Because this is where more individuals, now that they realize the Dalai Lama is gone, they're like, okay, we better do something about it. And if it's critical, the person at top must steer the ship and tell people, be prepared for a new form of activism, something we should see has worked for other movements in the past, which are fundamentally decentralized and a lot more viral that way. Last argument, this actually ties China's hands. Because even if you reincarnate, and Chinese government to meet Dalai Lama because they don't like to do, because Chinese are like that, we think the risk is that this will split the movement up because the younger generation will be tired of war and now think the new Dalai Lama is an easy compromise. A split in the movement weakens it over time as well. In contrast, when you don't reincarnate, it is a lot easier to prepare the movement that there will be no next me. There will be no easy compromise. And now responsibility falls on your shoulders to do the best for your future. That is why we think that at the point where we decentralize the movement, we are very confident that while one pen is great, a batch of them is not.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for that speech. And please have our here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Tibetan conflict is a real-life metaphor of spiritual eggs in one spiritual basket. Where in the instant the institution of Dharma fails, ladies and gentlemen, the movement dies. And fundamentally, when it is corruptible and when there is a new person that's competing for the spot for Dalai Lama, then fundamentally that institution becomes also corruptible and that movement also becomes vulnerable at the end of the day. There are two things I'll talk about in my speech in substantive. The first of which is I will deal with the comparative of this debate in regards to who is more likely to be able to garner a newfound political movement and more legitimacy. Is it in the instance where Dalai Lama gets ahead of the game and says that there is no finding the next Dalai Lama and ends the cycle there? Or is it where the movement is split across competing between the legitimacy of two forms of Dalai Lamas? Or secondly, ladies and gentlemen, of their counter-proposal, the comparative, of in which instance does the current Dalai Lama keep his legitimacy for the remaining years that he's alive, in instance where he's seen as self-interested by picking his own successor, or by keeping the imagery of being selfless by maintaining that the imagery that he will end and the movement is carried on by people that is not him in this particular circumstance. But I think it's very important to note that there was a wealth of analysis in terms of an aspect of our case that we told you that it was not sustainable to keep having people's hopes and dreams hinged upon a figurehead, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we were talking about in Lucas's speech, that people were corruptible, that individuals were unpredictable in terms of whether or not they would be susceptible to Chinese influence, that people in the millennial age were likely individuals that don't share the interests of the Dalai Lama today, ladies and gentlemen. That political movements being hinged upon one particular figurehead also means that this person being killed, it cripples this movement at the point at which this person dies. Those are all the harms of us needing to incentivize this political movement shifting away from being a figurehead-centered movement towards being one more democratized, more decentralized, and finally taken more control by people on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. But the second question to ask us here is that yes, in the status quo, people do rely on the Dalai Lama for spiritual fulfillment, but how much so? Because we think it was an exaggeration by my right to say that it could not function with the Dalai Lama. For a factual check, ladies and gentlemen, the Dalai Lama has been in exile for the last 2 decades away from Tibet. That means internally, Tibetans have been forming their own political movements and political resistance on their own just fine. But secondly, ladies and gentlemen, that if we allow for the Dalai Lama, even if we believe that's true, the Dalai Lama has about a decade and a half left to live. There's a lot of time, there's about 3 election cycles for Dalai Lama to be able to prepare his own people to formulate their own political stances, political movements, and organization in order to ensure that they are ready in instance where he is dead, ladies and gentlemen. So even if we take that characterization at its worst case, we have the time to be able to prepare people to be independent from the Dalai Lama. But thirdly, ladies and gentlemen, they haven't told us why popular movements, even if we're talking about Tibet, cannot be successful without a figurehead, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen so many independence movements that are democratic, that are widespread, decentralized, and a movement of the people. And generally speaking, these are the movements that often succeed rather than the ones that are led by one particular figurehead, ladies and gentlemen. Whether it be the South African independence movement or even when it comes to the Malaysian independence movement, largely driven by groundswell support and grassroots movements in that particular circumstance. The question here is, how do we move forward in terms of incentivizing that behavior? Is it by relying on a future Dalai Lama who will be a child at that point in time, having to wait for that individual to grow up for another 30 to 40 years before they have enough wisdom to guide people to form their own political movements? or the Dalai Lama right now, who has the trust as well as the belief of Tibetans at large, to be able to guide individuals as well as have the knowledge and context of international politics as it stands today. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no better time but now to have the Tibetan Dalai Lama to guide political movements become independent of him, rather than having being at risk of being killed and finally having the movement die at the end of the day. You need to deal with the alternative set of the debate when we want to move away from a figurehead type and not just rely on the Dalai Lama in perpetuity under your side of the house. We think that's exceptionally important that we added value there. But secondly, let's look at the comparative. We think that the competing Dalai Lama, so this is in the hypothetical, right? You pick another Dalai Lama, China picks a Dalai Lama, now we have to compete. The debate here is who gets more legitimacy or who ends up winning that competition for legitimacy, ladies and gentlemen. We would posit that it's a lot more likely that China wins out in that clash, in instance where you still legitimize the existence of future Dalai Lamas. Lucas already hinted at this when he told you that in a time where there is a split, people in Tibet are more likely to side with China in the instance where first they've lost a charismatic leader and now have to rely on a child, and the competition is an increasingly belligerent but powerful China that tells them you better give up. They are far more likely to create concessions on that side house and split the movement and make it fail under the opposition bench. But secondly, ladies and gentlemen, China will always have the ability to have popular messaging and media control, more so than this current new Dalai Lama that's picked on that side of the house. We think that at the very least on the outside, if you get ahead of the argument and tell people, prepare people for the next 15 to 20 years, that there will not be any more Dalai Lama. The current Dalai Lama has the ability to control that narrative and be able to prepare their people for that eventuality. So when the Dalai Lama dies, at the very least China isn't able, and their hands are tied, as Lucas said, in order to be able to reshape that narrative under your side of the house. 20 years is more time to reshape, yes.
As the Dalai Lama, why would he want to be democratic and let other people choose when he's been staying with the principle of choosing on his own, like Lucas has pointed out? Are you then okay with backlash of this?
Two things. Number one, the Dalai Lama has said in multiple interviews across the years that he does not care for the continuation of the institution of the Dalai Lama, most recently with John Oliver. But secondly, ladies and gentlemen, the Dalai Lama functions on the principle of being selfless rather than an egoistic centric view of the world that he wants to be reincarnated over and over again. So yes, it's perfectly within his own self-interest. So fundamentally, getting ahead of the argument is fundamentally important. But secondly, ladies and gentlemen, very importantly, is the legitimacy of the current Dalai Lama. In the instance where he chooses his own successor, ladies and gentlemen, we think that entirely delegitimizes the Dalai Lama as it stands today and disables him from controlling the narrative at all. The reason for that is because choosing your own successor will be seen as self-interested and selfish, because it's a continuation of your legacy. It is seen as attaching yourself to worldly affairs. It is seen as everything that's antithetical towards Buddhism, as well as what the Dalai Lama means, to detach yourself from worldly affairs, as well as to detach yourself from wanting to create a legacy for yourself. Versus what's much more consistent with his principles, to be selfless, to say it's not about me, it's about you, and you need to carry forward the movement and free our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DPM, for that speech. Can we please have the yellow over here?
And let's be honest with ourselves, I don't think this mission was set up because somehow the Dalai Lama felt like in his 14th term of being the Dalai Lama, he suddenly feels that people should be selfless, and therefore we should announce to everyone that no longer is a figurehead of a way in which the movement works is the best way in order to do so. We have to recognize that the way in which the Dalai Lama wants to announce that he no longer will be reincarnated is the point in which China or Beijing is about to elect the new Dalai Lama, for example, or a situation in which Tibet and China has situations or a strained relationship where you don't know whether the autonomy of Tibet will go towards that. The debate doesn't have to operate in a way or a vacuum in which you just say, maybe the Dalai Lama feels as if Buddhism should work and operate from now on this way. But instead, what is the political climate? Acknowledging this, then the debate then moves forward. There are two rebuttals I have to make in my speech. Firstly, a rebuttal about the modern English, how Tibet will move on after the Dalai Lama will no longer reincarnate. Secondly, we'll talk about why the Dalai Lama didn't want to announce that he wasn't even reincarnating, before. So I thought the model that they had on their side. Lucas said this very quickly, and it was only said in mid-speech that suddenly you can have leaders, you and you and you can suddenly lead the country. Three things. Firstly, we don't see how effective this movement will necessarily be. You still don't have the kind of leader that you needed was the Dalai Lama who empowered this movement to even exist in the first place. Realize that the only way in which all these movements existed in order to fight for Tibet's autonomy, well, when it comes to like Tibet's autonomy, was because they did believe that the figurehead was still the Dalai Lama, who had a political stance, who could speak on behalf of them and take the stance. Therefore, they would then like draw the policies up, for example, or make sure that Tibet still runs that particular scenario. At this point, if you lose this individual who is your Dalai Lama and your spiritual leader, who will then these people fight for? Who will then, acknowledging that you no longer have a person to defend against China's one particular scenario? Why won't these people be individuals who are going to be bought by China, for example? Why would these individuals came into China? Because you politically don't have a stance against individuals or an interest to fight for Tibet's even an interest to fight for Tibet's autonomy in the first place. So you have to probably tell us why interest will not change if China is still able to be that person that, well, the Dalai Lama was no longer able to defend against their interests. Secondly, oh, but this person is a child. You can't expect a child to run a country. For God's sake, we have done this within like medieval times when a person was a child king, right? You watch enough Game of Thrones. A person doesn't have to make the calls, for example. But the reason why this is important is because these individuals, the you and you that Lucas want to talk about, can keep the country running under the assumption that one day this Dalai Lama will be old enough to fight for Tibet. Again, losing this individual means that there's no more other incentive for you to fight for another person who won't take this political stance for Tibet at the end of the day. So we don't see what incentive structures still exist in that particular scenario. Second thing, no thank you. They never told us why the Dalai Lama, for 40 years of being the Dalai Lama, didn't want to do this before, but suddenly when China and Tibet relations are right, then they want to do this. Three responses. Firstly, realize that in Mahira's speech, very clearly that this will look like a direct reaction towards what is the political climate that happens when China wants to have autonomy over Tibet. No, thank you. By the way, let's all just acknowledge we want Tibet to be autonomous and free from everyone else. But secondly, we don't see why this process will be even helped better if you were to be able to let go of Tibet's ability to take a political stance against that particular scenario. So what happens now then? And why not before? Because if I'm Buddhist and I look at the Dalai Lama and go, wow, only when the situation is right between China and Tibet, don't really want to like tell other people that I won't reincarnate, makes it look as if it is more of a political move as the Dalai Lama than it is spiritual. And why is this important? Because if Lucas wants to go on a preaching rant about why it's so important that the people do believe in who the Dalai Lama is before he died, then how likely will Buddhists want to believe that this wasn't an egocentric and very self-interested move that the Dalai Lama did on behalf of assuming that Tibet should not have went to China? Because you can't have your cake and eat it too. I want to be spiritual. I can't be political at the end of the day. This is a political move and we have to talk about debate on those grounds. Three arguments on talk about. So thank you. Two of them. Firstly, what is the world with the Dalai Lama and what are the priorities of the debate as the Dalai Lama? Secondly, we'll talk about how China reacted to the Tibetan situation, something that Mahira spoke about, not really responded to by this speech. No, thank you. Firstly, what is the world with the Dalai Lama and what are the priorities in the debate? Let's be honest with ourselves, right? Lucas with a very long, interesting speech about how it's important to prolong safety and it's important to not be reincarnated because you might be assassinated in this particular scenario, right? Okay, if you get assassinated and you do believe in reincarnation, that's not really a problem because if you're still the same person when you reincarnate, then it wouldn't be a problem at the end of the day. Assassination when it comes to being the Dalai Lama has never been because the cheat code is you'll get reincarnated anyway, right? But the debate moves on from this, no thank you, right? That we never had anyone in this debate tell us, oh, we don't want to join Buddhism because the Dalai Lama is rather Tibetan and I'm kind of racist, which is why Lucas's speech doesn't make sense in the debate. You have more Buddhist followers. Sure, wait, what does it matter in the debate? So what happens in a world in which you actually take a political stance instead of one that is religious in nature? Two things. Firstly, well, now you will look as if the person, oh, thank you, right? Now, when you no longer have the Dalai Lama, then you don't have the kind of person to keep the faith of that, like Lucas wants to talk about in his speech. But secondly, that the autonomy of Tibet will be one that you can't necessarily defend because you don't have a figurehead in order to do so. Realize, by the way, that there's no other person in Tibet over the years that's been able to take a political stance other than the Dalai Lama. And that's why it's important to necessarily have it. Before that, sure.
So how in reincarnation is about your soul being reincarnated into a different body, but fundamentally being the same soul. If the Dalai Lama chooses his own successor, Does that concept still hold true because two Dalai Lamas are existent?
Yes, because the believers do believe that it's like Doctor Who. You're still the same person every time you are reincarnated or every time you reach down the line. So it won't necessarily be different. But sure, mate, let's deal with what if Beijing chooses who the next successor necessarily is. There's a reason as to why Beijing wants to toe the line as to who they necessarily pick next, right? Things such as if it's painstakingly different, then the 15th Dalai Lama looks so different from 14th, then will you be able to reconcile the face of the Buddhist people in a particular scenario, or will it be better that China looks as if they are having too much control over Tibet? One that they necessarily don't want to do so, by the way, right now. China can do whatever they want for Tibet. Are they doing it? They can't, because a lot of political pressure is put upon them in that scenario. So what will and how will China react to this situation? Why necessarily this is bad? Something I talk about more respond very quickly. They will tighten very preemptively and they will tell other people, oh wait, well the next Dalai Lama will be chosen by Beijing. Also we act very quickly and make sure that discussions from now on are hostile and we don't give Tibetans necessarily what we want. Secondly, we still don't think, and why we don't think they want to say this, why China still won't claim that rebirth or reincarnation. We still think it will still happen because China has an inherent interest to control Tibet in that particular scenario. If you don't provide the answers of how Tibet can defend themselves, then it doesn't matter how many Buddhist followers you have. What matters is whether or not you still hold Tibet.
Thank you, Yellow. For SB, Chinese, you might come here.
They will have no incentive to fight. If Yasser Arafat died, Palestinians would just give their land up to the Israelis. I think that was the most condescending I ever heard about the sufferings of the Tibetans in China. Okay? In terms of scenarios. First scenario, I think this is what they were alluding to, is that the Dalai Lama chooses Islam. A Karmapa Lama controlled by the Chinese, is the next Dalai Lama, becomes the sole Dalai Lama in question, and therefore all of their arguments about how people rely on the Dalai Lama works against them. Literally breaks up the Tibetan resistance movement apart because the next Dalai Lama is controlled by the Chinese government, which is, I think, what they try to do, like without explicitly saying it, which is the Dalai Lama kind of just screws over the rituals and the scripts, chooses a new Dalai Lama for themselves in a Doctor Who kind of way, which is beyond being weird, also means that there are now competing Dalai Lamas. Is that some Tibetans will look at the fact that the Dalai Lama knows scripture and chose to take away, because the reason why the Karmapa Lama chooses the Dalai Lama is because to ensure accountability, right? And the point at which you don't have a right to choose your own reincarnation, and that gets chosen by someone else, a lot of traditionalists within Tibet will still see the original Karmapa Lama's choice as the legitimate Dalai Lama. In your world of competing Dalai Lamas, China will have significant sway, if not total sway, over Tibet, therefore fracturing the small Tibetan resistance movement as a whole as well. That's scenario 2, which is what we are saying. Look, so they said, like in your world, there were competing China Dalai Lama as well. We can see. However, the difference is Dalai Lama. So, however, our Dalai Lama, the point at which they go ahead and say, I will not reincarnate. Scripture thing that the Dalai Lama started at one point in time. The Buddhist belief is not that the Dalai Lama started from the origin of time. He's literally only the 14th Dalai Lama. The scripture that allows the Dalai Lama to stop his existence at a certain point in time when deemed fit. This is the time for the Dalai Lama to deem it fit. This means when the Dalai Lama himself says, I can't reincarnate, the legitimate alternative becomes much, much less. Who wins? But now let's debate on the only scenario that the side opposition would actually engage on in this debate, which is their absolute hypothetical, magical best case scenario of the next Dalai Lama being a very good Dalai Lama to the people and not having any sway whatsoever, which is a highly unrealistic scenario, but we debated this anyway and won on their grounds. So they said, but guys, people rely on the Dalai Lama for support and they inspire, and people need these kinds of people to be able to stand up. A few responses. I think A, the shared common experiences of suffering is enough for people to stand up together. In fact, the fact that you don't rely on someone else telling you how to feel gives people agency to fight for themselves. And I think that's how a lot of the movements have been successful, and that's how the vast majority of movements are successful, when it's community-driven as opposed to individual-driven.
Yeah.
And yes, we will, number one. The second thing we pointed to you is the fact that you are vulnerable as a leader. That means if you are taken to jail, for example, like the current Dalai Lama got very lucky the way he escaped to India, for example. But other Dalai Lamas might not be just as lucky, might get captured by the Chinese government. What happens when they go to jail, for example? What happens when they go to assassinated? A given response of they can read to account the amount of years and the amount of luck you must have for the next Dalai Lama to have similar levels of political belief, similar levels of intelligence, and similar levels of all of those kinds of things to combine again.
Yeah, the existence of the Dalai Lama, even if he's Chinese, still makes the Chinese people concede on relations as to not cause political riots. Without the Dalai Lama, what is your interest to negotiate?
Don't create political riots as the Chinese Dalai Lama, because he's so spiritually strong. He can literally stop the Tibetan resistance by dictating to them what to do. And that's just a way worse thing, right? The resistance we have when people riot is when it's community driven. People riot and cause noise against the Chinese government. Back to that thing you talk about, check and balance, the Chinese government who's don't want to cause riots, is when it's community driven. It's about the self-immunity, making the cause noise. And I think that's the kind of things that actually causes disruption from the Chinese government, pressure on the Chinese government not to do much. So next, they told, but what did we also tell you? Rely on a lot of time for future leaders to be created. So for example, this little child needs a lot of time to be able to grow up, assuming the best case scenario in the correct environment to lead. They said, oh, other people can lead in the meantime. That's exactly our point. That you need other people ready. Well, other people are not ready. We think this is the correct time for Dalai Lama to start preparing the next generation of grassroots leaders and not totalitarian leaders on their own. But I think a few more things, right? I think the reliance on the Dalai Lama also means a lot of lessons. So this is, I think, assuming best case scenario for that. Assuming the movement even succeeds to a large extent, it's not sustainable, because you must end this position of Dalai Lama at some point, because you are relying on future Dalai Lamas to be just as nice people to begin with. And that's problematic, because future Dalai Lamas, after movements succeed, might not be as accountable to their people. And I think this happened before. People like Paul Kagame, Robert Mugabe were really big heroes in their communities. But when they got power, they didn't behave like that to their own people. And I think that's why accountability, too much power in single hands for future Dalai Lamas is too much to risk for the current Dalai Lama. The final thing that I would also like to say is this. Even in our worst case scenario, that we end up being less effective as a result of being a grassroots driven movement, we will take that for two reasons. One, because it gives agency and power to the people to determine for themselves what they want. But second, because we are a more inclusive movement, and therefore we don't have the trap of being driven by someone who looks at things from a more privileged lens as opposed to looking at it from the perspective of the people on the ground. At the end of the day, the Dalai Lama wants the Tibetans to be empowered. At the end of the day, Dalai Lama looks beyond himself and looks for the good of the Tibetan community. And if you really want that to happen, you must end the curse that has been existing on the Tibetan people and remove your existence, especially when there's a high risk of the Chinese government taking over your body. Yeah.
You want to create a new religious symbol. You want to create hope for the people and incite the kind of fury and hatred for people who act. But even the closest of people, they have an incentive and they have hope of why they fight in that particular manner. Even Jesus promised you to come back for your salvation. Even there are hopes for you for either paradise at the end of the day. That's why what Mahira told you from the start was very important. The fact that the Dalai Lama also functions as an incentive structure for these people to fight in the first place. Agreed by Mirza and also Mubarak to that extent that if this new Dalai Lama, controlled by the Chinese, can subdue these people and make them submissive, means that their whole idea of somehow martyrdom and creating riots or revolution will not be functioned at the end of the day. I'll tell you what's the probability of the kind of martyrdom or fight that's going to happen in this first place, and also tell the kind of reaction from not just people in Tibet, but also the international community at this point in time. But we need to understand here this, that this is the current situation whereby there are a lot of very sensitive climate that needs to play a role as well. We need to talk about other parties, not just how Tibetans can suddenly feel heated among themselves, figuratively and literally, to make sure that they take action, but also talk about how China plays a role, how international community plays a role, and what is the position of Dalai Lama in the political spectrum. Because they never seem to understand that the importance of role the Dalai Lama plays. Let's do a comparative here. Because under their side, they're very simple in terms of what they want in terms of martyrdom, and they want to fight. And we told you that hope and faith is particularly important to how this Tibetan functions in the first place. First off, the first assumption that they have is that these people never, seems like these Tibetans never actually take action at this point in time. They never actually wanted to take action. And only through the death of the Dalai Lama, they will suddenly be flared up and they want to take action and they want independence at this point in time. Considering the fact that even Lucas' opening speech, he told you that all of the discrimination, all of this killing already happens here. But what gives this Tibetan hope is that there is an outside party that can represent them, that talks to them, and that is an assurance of someone representing them and can fight on China's behalf at the first place. Removing that political figurehead or thing for these people to actually fight will remove the incentive structure of these people to fight in the first place. You cannot just simply say that they will come out and fight if they don't have any incentive structure. But let's go further down the line, because like it or not, current situation, if they don't have any kind of power to defend themselves, to get political action, or to get change, most likely they're not. The discrimination that happens will be exacerbated even worse. This is what Manila told you, that the fact that China can claim the kind of action taken by the Chinese government to preempt and control Tibetan even more, because they want Tibetan to be part of them, increase the chance of any kind of discrimination that they wanted to be exacerbated at that point in time, to kill off all of those parties that they want to talk about and only leave people who are submissive. What does that mean? That means on the left side, at least on the outside, we subdue and we create safety towards these Tibetan people when they are subdued and they relinquish themselves willingly. Under your side, you create chaos in Tibet and you kill more of these people and make sure that they die even further down the line. We don't think there's even an incentive structure for Dalai Lama to take, because he needs to represent the Tibetan people. Before that, yes.
So, first, the independence movement has been operating with the Dalai Lama in exile for over a decade. That Dalai Lama has over a decade to prepare this movement to operate independent of him, and most independent movements are grassroots movements without any sort of religious leader at all. Why do we need to leave this movement open to a religious leader and the vulnerabilities of it, and not independent of it?
Sure. Dalai Lama is not there to actually represent them and fight in Tibet. But what I told you, the fact that he's outside being a political representation in UN, he's outside representing them and be the power outside of that situation. The organization can still function, but they believe that there are someone outside that fights for them. But what does this change here? This leads on to my second idea. How does the international community will react in this particular instance? Because like it or not, they claim the benefit of somehow people will want to help Tibet. Somehow they want to they will stand for Tibet for the widespread of this movement. We don't think so. Because like it or not, the fact that Dalai Lama has a position, political position in UN or influence into other countries also means that it creates pressure to China to not act in a certain manner or put spotlight into Tibet in spite of the instance. The fact that those political movement is thrown out of the situation, the fact that there is no representative international community to fight for you, there is no voice outside as well, means that there will be less spotlight in Tibet in current situation. How does that affect the situation? Well, I don't know. Maybe other atrocity that already happens in China may not get spotlight or maybe be watered down in terms of discussion in terms of the international play. Maybe in terms of
their worker enforcement, maybe because of their environmental enforcement. Those are things that already been watered down, discussed in China, because people cannot take have a vested interest not to offend China in this particular instance. What happens now is that they won't necessarily fight for Tibet, or even if your best case now is that more and more people that want to in Tibet want to fight for them in the first place, they'll just be killed off at the end of the day without any kind of outcome and change at that point in time. We don't think there's a particular situation. But why is this more important in current situation right now, that people have hope of there is someone that will come back and still fight for them? Because the other side of the spectrum, the other religious leader of China, what does this mean? Scenario is also means that in their worst case scenario is that a lot of people will not fight or will not create that article, will not fight for Tibetan independence, because the other side of your spiritual leader is already in control of China. When you don't follow the Dalai Lama, you don't necessarily go say that, oh, I want to fight for the Dalai Lama. It's more likely I will follow the other side or the other spiritual leader, the people who are next in line in this particular instance. This also means that, like it or not, whatever that they wanted in the first place, they will never end in terms of what will be beneficial for Tibet. It either ends in what more you actually incite all of those killings in the first place, or second, you make sure that a lot of these people will submit to the other spiritual leader or submit to China and the autonomous. Under our side, at least we give them, if they will give them the organization a sense of hope of their leader coming back to fight for the regardless how long it takes. You create a unity and create that symbol to remain standing. You remove that symbol or you remove any interest of people to take care or even take consideration of that political symbol in the first place, means that you cut off support, you cut off defend, then you make sure that these people face a further harm or discrimination from happening. We don't think that it's particularly important and that's how Dalai Lama wanted in the first place. Let him remain a faith, let him remain hope for these people, because there's a way for them to fight. At least one day people will think that they will come a day when Dalai will come and save us at the end of the day.
Thank you all for that speech. Now to begin with the vice speeches, can you please have the open file? Here.
The debate would benefit from not just assuming that narratives float and stay immortal just because the Dalai Lama had the last say. It evolves and people react. And the world doesn't just stop once you proclaim that you will no longer be a person who exists as reincarnations. I have two issues to talk about in my speech. Firstly, does reincarnation as a principle help Tibetans or not? Secondly, let's talk about China later on. Talk about the first thing. Does reincarnation as a principle help Tibetans or not at the end of the day? Before we delve into this issue, let's talk about the debate from two perspectives that largely affect whether or not Tibet would benefit and take joy within the Dalai Lama reincarnating or not. Firstly, does the Tibetan movement right now have a figurehead that Tibetans want? But secondly, does the existence of the Dalai Lama spiritually empower this individual to do something about their country? But why exactly? Here's what we heard from government side. Firstly, people want to fight for Tibet because, well, if you look at the Dalai Lama, he left us a few words that really inspired us to fight. We should already respond to it by saying that when you don't have a figurehead, for example, especially a spiritual one, we don't see where exactly Tibetans will go in this particular scenario. But secondly, even if he were to leave a few words, that doesn't mean China can come in later on as you defend yourself against China and take over the narrative and say you will now probably work for us. What about this for yourself, right? Not from the Dalai Lama, name me one politician who can do this for you. No one in Tibet who is figurehead. And secondly, your grassroots movement that Mirza said. So we don't see anything that will happen or change that is meaningful on that side. But secondly, what Mubarak said was, well, your alternative was a Chinese Dalai Lama, which means that you can control Tibet. But we already told you that China has an interest to make sure that the current Dalai Lama, the newer one, isn't starkly any different from the previous one, for exact reasons where making it very different means that you will create political right or a situation in which Tibet thinks that what you're necessarily doing is having too much control over Tibet, that particular scenario. We also told you things such as the very reason as to why China right now concedes to a lot of negotiations with Tibet is because of the actual political influence that the Dalai Lama has. We want to tell you, he's been in exile for a very long time, and we've been working without him necessarily. But that really doesn't deal with the fact that John Oliver literally did an episode about him because of how much he still had to say about Tibet and how much he could change whether or not people thought that he was subsequently that important. But we also told you things such as, well, in this particular scenario, a grassroots movement is not particularly good. And here's where we compare their model and why it doesn't make sense on the other side. Something that only Milton provides an answer in his speech. The problem of Tibet, when it doesn't have a person who is a spiritual leader, is that historically for a very long time, they've worked on an episode or they've worked in an era that literally uses spiritual leader to talk against what an autonomy is for what necessarily Tibet is. Immolation, for example, and the sacrifice that individuals did, apart from any other political thing that they've done before, says one thing, that the only and the ultimate sacrifice that we're always willing to make is one that's spiritual. Losing this, and I don't think they took the spiritual issue of the debate, means that these people will no longer have this spiritual hit. They can further provide political movements that you want, and these grassroots politicians will not be that effective. Second, let's talk about how China will react. We also think, and we told you for a very long time, that cutting off the bud, which is, I'm just going to announce that I'm not going to reincarnate, doesn't solve all the problems of China reacting towards Tibet after this. Yeah, because once you announce, we told you from our speeches, that firstly, China will tighten MIDP to make sure that hostile discussions do happen. I no longer have the person that I thought I had, because I thought I had the 15 Dalai Lama in my hand. If you no longer have that, what will you do in that particular scenario? Because it is. We told you that it will also tighten up. The secondly, well, we also don't think there's a strong alternative on their side of the house because, well, we are a grassroots movement. We don't have anyone else to take care of us in that particular scenario. China will now be able to strong arm back because no one else will have the political and spiritual and also the ability to capture the hearts and minds of individuals within Tibet and say, maybe you should fight for your country because, well, the Dalai Lama said so. They said so a very long time ago, and words aren't really that immortal.
Thanks for the nice speech. Can we please invite the government? Yes, yeah.
I'm afraid to die. Of all the myths that humanity holds on to, the promise of eternal life is perhaps the foremost. The promise that when my soul perishes, I will go to heaven and see my Maker, and I will live forever and evermore. For any individual, much less a leader like the Dalai Lama, to say, I'm killing my eternal soul, I will not come back. This is not egocentric. This is horrific. This is a sacrifice that resonates as the ultimate act of what it means to be a leader. And when that act is paired in telling people, go and spread the word, that the cause of Tibet must live on even if I will never see your faces in the eons that will separate us in this cosmos. This is where even so much as one Tibetan still lives, the movement will come back like thunder, like rain, like the grains of sand on the beach that will erode the Chinese juggernaut bit by bit. The power of stories that pass on into legend is why Kyrgyzstan fights a hopeless independence war, because stories of their martyrs boil in their blood and seep in their veins. This is where this kind of powerful pressure overcomes rationality and overwhelming odds, things that Miss talked about that they never responded to. Because when you are fighting a war against China, you need that fire in your veins to overcome overwhelming odds. Mubarak further added to this by talking about how there are two worlds in this debate. There's a worst case if things don't pan out, you still keep your culture. They will take your land, but they will never take your dignity. But the best case, I say in my speech, money, international pressure, a decentralized movement where more than one person carries the flame of what it means to be an independent Tibet. This is particularly why myths and legends are so important in fighting a war of attrition. Well, let's talk about the actual comparative in this debate, because Vala Buddhists, all men must die one day. And there are two worlds in this debate. The world of the opposition is one where a squalling baby comes to power, which I was talked about. Literally, in their best case, there's 30 or 40 years to grow up, learn the language, learn international relations. There's a lot of time for people to lose hope and to buy into overtures of dependency that we're okay with the status quo, that we can live without an independent Tibet. In the closing opposition extension we get from Mahmoud, he says that the best case is the United Nations, like that's not really done very good for anybody. That's the point. In the worst case, China will kidnap the successor of whoever you name, like they did the Karmapa and Panchen, and the cries of your child Lama will be drowned out by the nattering of adult politics going on. Harking back to China's history, when their last emperor, Child Pu Yi, was forced by the Brits to sign a humiliating surrender document and give up the empire of China, I assure you, being Chinese, the Chinese are adaptable. They know this trick. They will not be humiliated again. They will not be moderate. The worst case that this I've talked about again is that your successor will not be loved overall. He may screw up. Mubarak impacted this. They have no answer to how to control the likelihood our successor will act. On the other side of the world, in a decentralized movement, the worst case is that the movers face out war with each other. Both of them talked about it. In that particular case, the worst case is a wash on both sides. But what do we give as a likely best case? Mr. talked a lot about how Dharamsala organized for decades without having to bet. The movement is agile. It is better accountable to check each other in the event of a rogue leader. Mubarak sealed the deal for us by talking about Palestine, by talking about how people can care about Palestine, about Syria, even without a figurehead in power. No matter what, I give him my speech that whether the best or worst case happen on our side, China's hands are definitely tied because the replacement will never have the sacred authority and he will ring hollow. No matter what, your values will persist because an imperfect successor will never tar your eternal memory. It is true that Muhammad says that one day Jesus may return, but Christians are told not when. We are called to take up our swords, to walk among the earth, to spread the word in anticipation of that outcome. We do not save the world, we save ourselves. In the immortal words of Nickelback, because why not? When they say that a hero can save us, we are not going to stand here and wait. It's better to hold on to the wings of eagles so the hopes of Tibet will fly today.
Thank both of you for the debate. Please round of applause and hands. Yeah. And audience, please leave as well.